Hello, everybody. Just want to give these are my top 10. What am I talking about here? Is already my top 10 values of, or I actually called them commandments, my 10 commandments. And the reason is because um, in the translation field, there's the Moses open source machine translation kit, so the Moses kit. So I made an analogy that my nickname in the industry is the godfather of machine translation. So I kind of made a joke in one of my talks saying, rather than Moses giving you the 10 commandments, here's the godfather of machine translation giving you the 10 commandments of how to be successful in the translation industry. And this is really beyond even translation. This can apply to pretty much any field. And that's a joke in saying it, but that's the why is what are these 10 key values of being successful in industry, but here I'll just use it for the translation field, but you can apply it wherever you want and pretty much in any field and sector. So commandment number one is collaborating and sharing is more powerful and more important than hoarding, or that's retaining knowledge. So knowledge retention, knowledge hoarding, knowledge withholding. And collaborating and sharing is more powerful. If you keep it for yourself, I'll warn you that people know that you'll keep things for yourself. And I'm not talking about like patent stuff, because of course I don't never share about my patent stuff. I'm working patents, but there are things where it's appropriate to keep it for yourself. And some, when you're navigating through some political mazes of certain things on certain times, it's appropriate. But in general, I found that collaborating and sharing is way more powerful because then people want to work with you. And you'll find you will bring people to work with you that believe in your values too and adhere and subscribe to your value system. So when you acknowledge and share, and I mean, just go look at my LinkedIn profile, I get, 100 recommendations, and like 95% of them are all about knowledge sharing and stuff. People want to work with me. And I have very people that don't want to work with me because they know that I'm not trying to hold the knowledge for myself. I'm trying to use it to help them and do it. And in the end, it also comes back in some way. It just comes back. So if you collaborate and share, it will come back to you. Um, of course, you got to be careful, okay? But I'm just saying that's kind of a general value. Commandment number two is you need to learn to say no more than you say yes to things. One of the risks, and this is kind of a basic thing of any project management, any project manager will know this, is you need to learn to sacrifice things. Every time you start adding things, okay, you've got a list of prioritization, you've got a list of things you're working on. It could be a list of features, it could be a list of priorities for even making a choice, even buying a car. You have a list of criteria that you want to do and do it. And in the end, or some new things, are you evaluating what your nonprofit association, your NGO, or your company, or your whatever your corporation, or you got priorities and anything, and what happens, it's easy to always, your tasks for whatever job, per project, you can always add more tasks, but in the end, if you keep adding tasks, it's gonna just dilute the quality of what you're gonna be doing and your ability to actually achieve the things on time. And what you need to be able to do is learn to sacrifice things. So if you start adding things, what are you gonna sacrifice in the list? It's really hard to do this. But you need to learn to say no more than say yes. And then what that helps you do is learn to qualify the projects that you're getting or the new requests you're getting. It helps you qualify them and say no. And sometimes you just say no, saying actually customers will actually respect you by saying no because you're going to tell them why you're saying no. And it's going to cost them more. It might cost them more money. So that might be actually might be very valuable to them. If you say no, this will cost you this much more. Learn to say no more than you say yes. Okay? So commandment three is do not talk about topics that that you really don't know anything about, or not really familiar with, or it's not your area of expertise, even in your general field. And I will usually not talk about things. People will know that I will not talk about things that I don't know anything about. And if I don't know something, I'll tell people that I just don't know. And I'll go look up the information, get them some references, refer to them other people, do whatever is necessary to go ahead and do it. Sorry, I got the lighting here, but it's getting to be after hours here in the office, and so I just have to deal with that fact that the lighting, if I don't move, then it'll turn off the lights. So I'm finishing up here in the evening. So just don't talk about it if you don't know about it. Don't try to promote yourself as an expert in everything because it's not possible. You can't be an expert in everything, and it really destroys your credibility if you try to discuss things and talk about things you don't know about, because it just looks like makes you look like a fool. Okay, and that just is not good. Once you start destroying your credibility on things by bluffing it or just trying to cover over, it's not good, and especially for customers. Especially for customers, if you start talking about things, they start feeling that you don't really know what you're talking about. You start bombarding them with acronyms and stuff to make it look like it's super complex. Don't do it. Just simplify it and don't talk about what you don't know. Okay, and just refer to others and say, or I'll get back to you. I'll get back to you after I've gotten the information from someone else. I need to contact another expert in the company or something to do it. That's the way to do it, folks. Do not talk about what you don't know. Another thing, Commandment 4, which is something that I still deal with a lot, and I'm not perfect at it, and I really I'm constantly working on dealing with this and doing it. Is do not just don't see and state problems. It's better to find and propose solutions to problems rather than just seeing and stating the problems. Don't just make an observation and say, "Oh, my observations of the problem." No. Find them and then propose solutions to do it. And customers really don't want to just have complainers. They want to see when people are giving feedback I don't make this optimistic, we've always got to be perfect, positive feedback thing, because that's not good either. You need to give sometimes you need negative feedback, but do it in a way that's constructive so that someone will make a change on it and they won't just resist anything. And this is hard to do. I'm not saying this is easy to do. This is hard to do at times. But customers, when you are providing a service to them, what you want to do is you want people to help. You need to customers, they want you to provide them with a service that will help them make some wise business decisions for their own core business. And that's where you're helping them. And here, even in the translation field, it's important. You want to show yourself as more than just being a bilingual typist. Okay, you want to be able to show that you're adding value that is helping the customers make good decisions and better decisions for themselves. And it really, as a translator, you are a consultant to help the customer make better, wise decisions, believe it or not. And what you add to it. And when you say, like I said, say no, don't talk about the topics you don't know about. These are just factors and be able to do this. And let's see a couple other things here. And then really I'm not going to put my Commandment 5 in this order because I did this in a certain way that when I did one of my talks at University of Gdansk, but I'm now going to go ahead and pull and it's up on my website and my YouTube. But here in October 2014, this is I'm going to put Commandment 7 first because I think it's more important to talk about that one. So just don't focus about talking about quality. Don't focus about talking about quality. And I made a separate video just on that. Don't focus on talking about quality. Focus on other topics. That is marketing yourself, market your skills, sell your skills, and then quality. Just do the quality and then let others talk about you. And don't over-engineer the quality. I'm not going to give in the deep dive because you can get that in the other video where I talk about the quality, the question and debate over quality in the translation field. And then Commandment 5, so I'm going to step back to Commandment 5, and that is just measure productivity, improve your working skills, use your tools, and what's your goal for the project? What's your productivity measurement? What's your goal? How much even translations, you do 2,500 words per day. You want to measure that and get to it and do it. And then you need to be organized with your time. You need to log your time. Why do you do this? Because translation professionals are just not good at doing it. Okay, and there aren't always the best tools to be able to help you do that. You just need to find a way that can do it. It can be in Excel. There can be lots of time logging things and activity libraries logging things. But I found that translators can be poor at doing that. And so it's really hard to be able to measure your productivity and all that. And really, translation is your business. You need to treat it like a business. This is not like a philanthropic, hobby. This is something that is your business, and you need to treat it as business, and you need to respect it, and you need to be organized with your time and show how much time it is. And when you do organize your time, then you'll be able to log what you're doing and figure it out and be better each time. Okay. So that comes back to Commandment 7, because it's Commandment 8 now, which because we used Commandment 7 already. Now you need to estimate what you're doing carefully. Be better at planning your projects, because based on what you've already done before, estimate them better now. Do a better estimation of how much time you can take. You do, what are your deliverables times, how much you can do in a certain amount of time, what's going to be the quality of that. Do better estimations. And then you need to promise what you can do the promise, deliver on, do it, just do it, and then deliver on it, and then document the process and improve the analysis and make your better analysis better next time. You can see my other video on the quality, and I'll talk a little bit more on that, in the other video, but I just kind of want to highlight the things here. Then Commandment 9, and I mentioned this in another video too, but I just say here, you need to baseline your time, get your estimated baseline, how much time it takes you to do, how much you can do in a certain amount of time with certain factors, have a few baselines that just set, this is what I'm capable of doing on this type of topic, this type of purpose content. And then, and you need to just benchmark it every time you're doing a new one and see if you're going to readjust your time and see, and just getting it better and better accurate. And then you can estimate it better, compete against yourself. You're competing against yourself to do it, or in your project is competing itself. So the people you're working with, you're all competing to make yourselves better, and then to be faster, deliver on time, and really do what your customer expects and get it done before. The customer really like it when you get it done beforehand, before it's promised, but make sure the quality covers to what you want. And then Commandment 9 was, I just had mentioned, including that is just find ways to measure it, and go watch the other video on quality itself specifically, and the debate over quality, because I give examples of how to do that with your social media and all that. And then really Commandment 10 is to stay in scope. Just stay in scope. Don't do service creeping, request creeping, feature creeping. This comes back to is really in knowing what you want to do. Know what's your in scope and know what's out of scope. Be careful with that. State that. Bring it up to the customer. Get the requirements. Get it stated clearly, what they want, what they don't want, and have those in scope and out of scope. Sometimes it's really helpful to do that. I've saved a lot of projects by having out of scope indicated just as much as in scope. And stay focused on it. Don't let other things creep in and then cause you to not make the deliverable on time, and that are causing things that will be more. They'll actually be. You'll have to focus on those, and it'll actually lower the quality in the sense that you're not going to be able to deliver on time, and you won't be able to deliver the quality of the other features of the things, or what services, what are you going to do of your project. Just learn to say no. Say no, or say we need more time. Or you're going to have to pay more money. You have to hire someone else to work on it. This is just how to stay in scope is key. Or you negotiate some factors that allow you to have extra time or add money to the project or whatever it is. And then, so those are the key things. And kind of the last takeaway, and I called this Commandment 12 in one of my talks at the University of Gdansk. I said, don't try to be looking for a single best one-size-fits-all solution. It always depends, and you will never find it. And you got to go watch that talk to see the University of Gdansk in October 2014, where I gave some examples about what is the best solution. So you got to go watch that to kind of get the feeling of what I was talking about. And I gave multiple examples with different cameras, phones, and guitars, and giving examples. So you go watch that, and then I'm comparing those to translation tools and all that. But just really, there's no single one best solution. Sometimes there are a lot of companies that buy multiple licenses of multiple products, especially translation products. Sometimes the CAT tools. Some companies, translation company, have all of them, and they just, depending on which one they're using, they use this one, that one. So maybe Catalyst is better for doing some localization of things because you can handle the kind of the native files, formatted files of other kind of exotic formats versus you're going to be using another one that's easier to use for some reason for the users, or if you're going to have some conversion. I'm not going to go into all this. I don't want to get into all the details, but I just want to say that there's no single one best, and you just need to decide what's best for you. And sometimes you only have money to buy one. But if you got money to invest in several, that's good. And if you got people to be able to work with the different ones, that's even better. And sometimes you just have to make a decision and make it work for you. And you need to be productive with all of it. So I hope that this overview of topics is helpful for you to really think about how to be successful in your job as translated, but it can apply to a lot of different jobs and marketing, project management, customer service, development, sales. I mean, everything. We can all benefit from thinking about and looking at these things, and really keep it on track, folks. Thanks so much for listening. Give me your feedback on this. Thanks.